Uh,
All right, what are the rules with swearing and slurs?
no slur. Only YouTube.
Anti-Semitism. Ah,
Only YouTube appropriate
dude,
slurs.
no anti-Semitism.
Okay, I'm just gonna
Drake
check.
X Scooby Doo Dope Island remix.
Okay, everything's perfect. Everything's perfect.
Okay.
All right, guys. This is a professional panel of politicians and experts, and we're gathered here to talk about the delicate situation in Iran. So,
Wait, are you live?
yeah, I'm live. Thanks for asking.
Oh,
So the first prompt
I'm
is,
nervous.
and I feel like we should let Daniel go first to set the tone, okay? Do a majority of Iranians oppose their government?
All right, yeah. I would contend that most likely they do, for, various reasons. Obviously, we don't have like some sort of independent polling, uh, because of internet restrictions and self-censorship, factors like that. Um, there's not really a truly independent in-person poll. But we can look at various factors. I mean, for example, there's been low turnouts in elections. So in 2024, their most recent presidential election, they had a historically low turnout. They had the lowest turnout in their history. And so that was a turnout of, let me see, it was 41%. And so that was the lowest since 1979, since the revolution. And that's also kind of considering the fact that there's obviously suspicions of them exaggerating turnout. And, that was also the election where they had this, revolutionary reformist candidate in Pezeshkian. So I think that low turnout is a very key factor that says, they reject their governance. We also have a leaked poll from the Ministry of Culture and Islamic Guidance. So that was from the BBC. They said that 72.9% of Iranians favored separation of religion and state. And so, I think that's an important uh, factor to consider because the entire foundation of their governance is theocracy, is the inclusion of religion with the state. So, and that was up dramatically from 30%. So you're going from 30% to 73% of that sort of rejection. So, for those factors, I would contend that uh, Iranians do oppose their government for the most part, but I will also be willing to concede that, there is no truly independent uh, in-person kind of poll that we can look to.
Okay. All right. That's a good start. I guess I'll give mine. I'll say like we can't conclusively say most Iranians like either support or oppose their government, but I would argue for like logical reasons that most of them don't oppose their government because like while many of them like want reforms and there's a lot of differing beliefs within any country, I don't really think that constitutes an argument that most of them like oppose their government. And I believe that most of them understand the existential threat of the US and Israel. And for those that didn't before, like they do now. And so I think like to say like they oppose their government is to say they prefer those outside governments meddling in the process of their government, which if you know the history of Iran, that would be like a laughable kind of like point to make is that they want other countries to come in and keep interfering, you know? So like um I don't think that that the state of Iran has been like in like before this war, I don't think it was in a dire state to the point where they needed to radically come and change the government. In my personal opinion, I think that there was some problems that they could have fixed, that they could have reformed, and that there was a lot of like ways, directions to go. And I don't necessarily think that this war is going to help any of that. So that's my perspective. Hayden, you want to go or?
Um,
I think that yeah, like probably I would say that a lot of people probably are unhappy with how things are going, but I feel like most people are smart enough to know that a big reason why things suck is because of the sanctions and what Israel and the US is doing. And also, I mean, the government does have a big enough support base to continue basically. And also, like, the whole point of this whole argument, like the whole like, oh, well, do the people support the government, is to like say, oh, well, they don't, which means we have the right to overthrow them, which is stupid because most Americans don't support our government, but that doesn't mean like China should come here and do a regime change, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's very fair. John,
I nominate Josh first.
I don't know if Josh is here to speak, but Josh, you want to say anything?
All right, I'll go first.
All right.
I think it's really difficult to gauge from a humane perspective. Um, it sounds poor, but I don't. I think weighing the the population's response to something like this as having been truly oppressed, and I'll side with I'm not siding with Daniel, but I'll disagree with Kate to the extent of where I don't think that the government was at a place where it could have reformed to like normality. I still think that there should be strives towards like democratic principles. I don't think that it's you should just say, okay, well it's a theocracy, so it's okay that XYZ. Like I think the oppression of people isn't something just entirely ignored. That being said, I don't think that Iranians really care about a future. I think they're more involved with direct like kind of outlook and almost PR. Like Israel's mastered PR, even though their civilization is not free, but at least they make it look okay to the public eye.
Yeah.
Feel like this is going to end significantly worse for them than how they imagine right now. And I don't think it's wrong of in human nature to celebrate something like this and the idea that you're becoming free. But I think it's indefinitely more uh, like you're entrapped a lot more when you are given the illusion of freedom rather than you're constantly like I think they knew that they were oppressed obviously, but I think being given the illusion of freedom and then your economy is going to slowly start to collapse, and then banking on this miracle government to come in and kind of rectify things. And I can't speak from an entirely knowledgeable perspective, but I think that
But
it's
like,
reasonable to assume they're a little blindsided. And
how are like Iranians any more oppressed than like anyone else though? Like especially people in that region. Like Iran literally has elections, unlike Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, all those
I
countries. So it's
I, I
like
don't
it's
I just
hard to
think from
even
a human
just
rights
like of
perspective,
course like Iran has some fucked up shit, but like we all
there's no
do,
but.
like every country does. So it's like
I,
I just don't see
and
how
you
they're
can
being
say
equally
that you can
bad.
say that, and I know that comes from your and I'm not going to oppose it objectively, but your anti-American sentiment, which is fine, and I'm not going to say you're wrong in that. But I don't think that there's like a oh well I'm a Western ideology like goy, and I sit there and I have these ideals that are so slanted, and I could never understand that everything in that region. Like I don't think that it's okay for any country to have human rights violations to the extent that them and all their neighboring countries do. I don't think they get a pass because it's
Well,
the
no,
region
I agree
normalcy.
that like yeah, in principle you want to see human rights upheld, but like whenever we're buddy buddy with all these other countries in the region who are doing worse shit than they are, so it's like, and we're doing
Mm.
worse shit than they are, so it's like I don't see the point in like even talking about Iran as like this global actor who's
Yeah.
always doing bad shit because it's like
No, I agree. I agree,
there's
and that's
literally like
definitely
10 other countries who are fucking around more than Iran
I
is.
agree, and that's not the sentiment I want to be taken away. Just exclusively speaking on this topic of Iranian population and how they view it, I think there's a level of I wouldn't say obviously you have sympathy for the people that were oppressed to an extent, but I think there's a level of understanding to a disillusion that exists right now, and I don't think it's valid to give reason as America going and doing what they've done as a pro because of the positive outlook in any regard. I wouldn't put anything in or any celebration that has occurred from the Iranian people as a plus for America. Like I still am fully against everything that's happened.
I think I understand what you're trying to say, John, that you can't discount the human rights abuses at all. I think the only thing that bothers me is that it's being used as like a crutch, as like a reason, like we're doing this for them.
I agree.
Which is annoying, but it's 100% valid that Iran is going through a lot of human rights abuses, and that their government necessarily wasn't handling it as good as they should have been. So, and I think that transitions us to the next topic. So, like, should Iran give up now, or should they fight till the very end?
I think they should fight till the end.
Okay. And why do you think that they should do that?
Because if they give up, because basically if they are to surrender now, which would mean probably like some leader comes along that does like what Delcy Rodriguez did in Venezuela and like just fully capitulates and becomes our bitch. Like then all your sovereignty's gone and like you're just done. Like we're gonna penetrate your country with the CIA, Mossad. We already have, but furthermore, and then you're just gonna be a puppet state of the U.S. in a long time. So I think it's definitely in their interest to keep this going because I think they can absorb a lot more pain than we can. Like if they can keep this going for like a month or two.
So in a war of attrition, they could outlast us.
Yeah.
Okay. Daniel?
If they surrender now, then they're permanently fucked long term. They're just gonna be a colony of us, basically.
Okay.
Me and Cade, we've kind of talked about this fairly extensively. I think they should personally, but will they? I doubt it. Now, why do I think they should? I just think they're obviously facing a battle they're probably going to lose. Like, I don't really think the U.S. and Israel will stop until their goals are achieved. I mean, and when you kind of just already look at like the initial results, like it's not really looking like great for Iran. I mean, obviously we don't know. A lot of propaganda is being spread by all sides, but from what we've heard, the Iranian Navy's like pretty much cooked. The U.S. and Israel, they supposedly have close to what we call air superiority. And then you just kind of look at the losses. I mean, they've lost like their entire naval fleet. They've possibly lost thousands of IRGC members. I mean, who knows what the exact number is? But you compare it to like the U.S. I mean, I will say the U.S. is the problem for the U.S. is the cost of it, and the cost is rising as this goes on further and further. But in terms of like initial losses, I mean, you're talking about 6 U.S. service members dead right now confirmed. Yeah, I mean, I think the losses are already like way skewed, and
I
will
think
they
for Iran
stay?
though, it's not that bad given the circumstances. Like because clearly Trump and Netanyahu thought that after they killed the Ayatollah and like all of the leadership, like Iran would fall apart, but they haven't. So I think that's like a kind of
I
a
would kind of
wrench
push
in
back.
their
I don't think
plans.
that's necessarily like their plan. What I think, what I think their plan is to kind of just like weaken the entire like military as much as they can, and then have some sort of ground force, whether that's like the people or whether that's like the Kurds or something. Like I think that's what they're kind of thinking.
The plan is to balkanize Iran and to turn it into
Well, I'm
Syria.
fully against that for the record. I mean, I think that's a disaster. I'd always be against that. But I mean, I think somehow their plan is to, just weaken it as much as possible and then basically take it over from within. So, I mean, I don't know.
I understand your point. I think it's a difficult answer. I think if they want to preserve architecture and innocent lives, then yeah, they should give up. But they give up and they'll only exist as a vassal state. They're going to be like a puppet, just like Venezuela. So I don't think that kind of existence is necessarily a good one. It's like, do you want to minimize damage or do you want to maximize your dignity? Like, are you just going to give up and say like, oh, don't destroy our buildings, don't do that, and then we'll be your slave? Or are you going to fight to be free? And although you might not think Iran is fully sovereign, it's as close as they can get. and as close as any country can get in the world right now.
No, I mean,
I
I
think
agree with your point. No, sorry, go ahead.
I don't have much, but I think Hayden's on the nose. I don't think it benefits anyone in America to kind of drag it out. I think you were right in your assessment that I think the administration kind of saw it similar to their. I think it was like a year ago that we attacked them briefly, and it was kind of like, oh, that's that. I don't think they necessarily saw it as like a long-term conflict. And I think that really hurts. And I think obviously we're still 2 years out, a year and a half out, but by the time
Yeah,
elections come up, it's not going to benefit anyone to be in Iran. It's going to be the
was
most
supposed
despicable policy.
it was
And
supposed to,
like you brought up about American soldiers, I think you're at 6 already. I mean, if that number hits 20 at any point, then I mean, the universal American population will throw out. I mean, the entire it's already going to swing, and then this is like a nail in the coffin for everyone to vote left. And I think that's going to be the biggest thing, is trying to keep Vance in some regard. So it's not like Democrats are going to get rid of like surveillance.
We got midterms.
Venezuela situation that they thought that once they
Yes.
killed the Ayatollah and all their other leaders, that someone would basically rise in the ranks and agree to our terms basically and surrender. But no one's done that because Iran's very different than Venezuela.
Yeah.
So now they're kind of fucked, and they're stuck in a situation where now they're in a long war, and
Yep.
there's not really any way out. That's why now you're seeing them talk about ground troops and shit, because are really the only way to fully, if you want to reach your goals they've stated, which is regime change and to destroy all of Iran's ballistic missiles and nuclear facilities, then you're gonna have to send troops on the ground to confiscate them and destroy them. So
Yeah, at this point, I don't think it benefits Iran to give up. It's too early.
I agree.
yeah,
I will. I don't know. Yeah.
if they can get us to invade them, which would be very retarded by us, like to actually send ground troops in, I feel like that'd be a gift to the regime, because it would just like unite the people around them, around the new leadership. Which
it's almost like Afghanistan. Like I think if you could get like a moral loss out of it, to where like U.S. withdrawals and it's just such a PR nightmare and it looks terrible, and then obviously you have the Taliban take over, but it just the same sense of like a complete lack of American presence, and then it just completely drops off. I think I think you hit it on the nose by saying that America can't afford it.
And
the war is as much as Iran can.
There was supposed to be another topic. I forgot the picture, but so like transitioning to like Israel is using this as a way to finish their goal of like expansion of Greater Israel.
Yeah.
And what do you guys feel about that?
I'll let Daniel go. I interrupted him too much.
I mean, someone else can go ahead first. Honestly, I kind of have to think about it.
I don't mind going. I'll go because I hate Israel. So I think the pursuit of greater Israel is the single greatest threat to like the modern world landscape. You can think I'm being dramatic, but I think this process has started long before we existed, and it accelerated like we've never seen before. Obviously in like the early 2000s, and at this point, Iran is the single thing like keeping Greater Israel from being a reality. So I feel like once Iran is defeated, which I think they probably will be defeated, I think that it's a very dangerous position for the United States, because then Israel will have total power over the region. And I think there's a future where Israel doesn't necessarily need us as much, and they would be willing and open to work with other countries that are comparable to us. I don't think they're tied to us in any way, and I feel like if we keep like feeding this pariah state and it gets bigger and bigger and more powerful, like they have no reason to listen to us. They already don't listen to us as their best ally. They do things like almost a slap in our face sometimes, and it'll only get worse if they grow.
Who would replace America?
So just to clarify,
we give them a
shit
ton of funding.
Their goal is to become the regional power of the Middle East. And after Iran, after Iran, they're gonna go after Turkey. So their goal is to take out all their rivals in the Middle East, and then become the regional power, and it looks like they're gonna get close to that goal. I mean, I don't know. I think Iran can hold out for a while. I mean, I kind of think Trump might just like call it quits eventually and like just say he won because he killed the Ayatollah.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think we're prepared for the consequences because we've been framing this war as in our best interest, but it's really not. It's Israel's best interest. And it's like, what are the consequences of Israel, having their way all the time? It's like, it's not necessarily going to benefit us.
So just to clarify real quick, is the question kind of what does the world look like with if the regime falls? Is that what we're saying?
If like, what does the world look like with expansionist Israel being a reality? Because the regime's pretty much the last step towards that.
Yeah. I mean, they're openly kind of calling it, the head of the snake. I mean, that's the exact wording that's been used. I mean,
So do you think, like, so basically you would support this regime change. So are you prepared for the consequences of that?
I think there are potentially dire consequences of it. Mainly my position of regime change comes in, well, for one thing, let me make it clear. I think the reason that I think, regime change would be good, like I support regime change, is because I do think that, this Israeli like victory is inevitable. I do think like it's gonna happen. That's why I don't really see like Iran as sovereign, like you guys may see them as. I think it's an inevitable victory. So with that being said, I'm kind of just thinking like, okay, well, what would kind of be best for the people? Being an Iranian myself, I kind of have that thought process, right? So with that being said, I hypothetically, if regime change, if like this victory for Israel is inevitable, I would hypothetically, right, I would support like a pro-Western regime that would kind of just open up Iran and like integrate it economically and allow like investment that would kind of help people prosper. Um, but I'm not sure if I'm prepared for like the consequences of what you're implying here. So
what country has ever been opened up by the West and things have like genuinely been better, and they've been able to like be an actual like power that has sovereignty? Like, I just
South
like I
Korea.
can't think of one. South
I don't think
the
they're gonna
only
have
the only
sovereignty.
examples are exactly or are right after World War II with like Japan, Germany, and South Korea. But like besides those three, it's like and like Taiwan, there's like none basically, and those countries still don't really have sovereignty.
Nope.
There are bitches at the end of the day. So, but at least their economies got to go boom.
No, I don't really
But
think
they're
any
still slaves
country.
to the West.
I think there's legit maybe like 7 countries in the world that have like true sovereignty. Maybe not even. Maybe
Well,
maybe like
Iran's one of them though. That's the thing
I
about
don't really
Iran is
see. I disagree
why.
because well,
Okay,
for one, they never acquired a nuke. And
that's a fair point.
I don't really think that. See, here's the thing, right? Like, if Israel and like the U.S. can really just like do this to you so easily, like, are
Or
you really sovereign? Like, are you really sovereign if you can lose thousands of like IRGC members in within days,
I
like, are
think
you
they're,
really
I
sovereign?
think you're sovereign because that's the whole reason why Israel and the U.S. is doing that to you in the first place.
Well,
Like,
I think you're maybe a threat to be sovereign, right? But I don't think you're actually
Well, I
sovereign
think
because if you're sovereign,
sovereignty
you
is
wouldn't get attacked in the first
it's
place.
not necessarily a yes or no. There could be a scale, and I think they're as close as you can get.
Well, it's not really like, yeah,
short
there
of
is a
getting a nuclear
scale.
weapon,
I think that's a good way to look at
they're
it.
as close as you can get to being a truly sovereign country that can make its own decisions. But
Yeah, and
well, that's
obviously
gonna
they
be
don't
traded away.
have the nuke,
And
but
what good is it? Like what do you want Iran just to be like basically Saudi Arabia 2.0, where it's like Tehran is booming and there's like and now we got strippers and OnlyFans whores and it's awesome and it's
Escorts everywhere.
westernized and it's great. But
yeah. See, I've
outside of the main city, it sucks ass, and now and people are continuing to be poor, and it sucks still. Like, that's the reality of it. It's like at least the
Yeah.
current regime like has like values of like helping the poor and shit like that. At least like
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel
We
like
gotta be
a
for like
secular what like and Daniel. By the way, I agree with you. I think they should move towards a more like nationalist type of ideology. Like I feel like
I
they should
agree.
try to blend nationalism and Islam and like secularism so they
Here's the
can get
problem
those
with that
liberals
though.
over.
There's a
But
problem
I
with
mean,
that
hard.
because the reason there's a problem with that is because fundamentally, Khomeini, when he like for those of you who don't know Khomeini, like he was the founder of basically the Islamic Republic, what we
Yeah,
know as, right? And so his fundamental belief was that Islam and nationalism cannot go hand in hand,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So with that being said, can this regime really gonna kind of take it to that point
Well,
with what we see
I
with like
will
Saudi with it where they kind of emphasize nationalism, right?
I will say I did see since the 12-day war last year, the regime has been like tapping more into nationalism. Like they've hung posters of like Cyrus the Great up and like historical Iranian figures basically. So I feel like they kind of know. I feel like the actual people who run shit kind of know they have to pivot
I think they know,
eventually
yeah.
because this shit like the and but I'm not saying like they need to ditch Islam because that's important in Iran, but they're gonna have to like have like a new like kind of social contract basically. Like I think they definitely need to pivot more towards nationalism to really keep
Well, listen,
everyone united.
I think you can guide, like, I think you can guide your government on like religious values, right? But,
Hmm.
this is kind of the conversation I was having with Kate. I don't think you should have like a total dominance of religion. I don't think like Islam should completely dominate life, right?
I agree.
And
That's
Well,
so,
valid.
it's hard to say that. It's
I
hard to
think
say
the
that
U.S.
because
and yeah, John.
sorry, it's hard to say that, and it's gonna sound poor and ignorant, but I think like a little like a I don't know, Hayden, you wouldn't describe America as an entirely Christian country. I don't think that most of what America stands for now is Christian in any regard. I think with Islam, I'm not going to sit here and say like it sounds incompetent to say it's a more extreme religion, but I think by nature it's a more intense religion. I don't think there's like a half measure that you could try to find within a government because I think I don't know, I think it kind of guides a stronger hand in just naturally. I don't really think you can go halfway or else you're not being loyal to the book. It's like Christianity, you're not loyal to most Christian things unless you're like a devoted Catholic. I don't know, it's difficult.
well, I think we've really gotten away from like our Christian like values fundamentally in the US. Like I think we've
Exactly.
become
But
way more secular.
I think, and it's as someone who doesn't classify anywhere, I think most people would argue that's objectively hurt the country. I think a lack of morals, and I think with
I
somewhere
would
like
agree with you.
Iran, you justify things with morals too much, and then you're following a 1,000-year-old book, multiple 1,000-year-old book, and that's obviously not going to be great for
Uh,
human rights, especially for
I,
women. So I think I don't know how we evolve as a
Well,
society.
it's the funny thing
I,
is, I feel like without Islam, Iran would never be in this position, but they would also never have been as close to sovereignty as they were. I feel like they would have been a slave state a long time ago if they weren't ideologically like different.
to me, I think this whole war is gonna like it's gonna give birth to like a new like I guess generation or like class of leaders who are more like nationalistic because it's just gonna bring the population together. And since we've wiped out like their entire leadership, like now it's just like you're
Someone's
gonna
gonna
have new
step up.
guys who fill the
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah,
they're gonna be younger
and
guys
you're
who probably aren't.
radicalizing more people because
Especially
like
we get
Yeah,
boots on the ground, like it's gonna
they're
it'll push
like
it very
yeah,
fast.
yeah,
they could go. I know like the new guy they're saying who's like kind of running shit. I forget his name, but it starts like with an L, his last name or some
Or
shit.
Johnny.
Yeah, but like yeah, he's like this like hardliner like philosopher king basically. Like he like loves like Immanuel Kant and shit, and he like reads that shit and like he's like this kind of like authoritarian technocrat basically. Like that's what you're gonna get now basically. It's not gonna be these like religious dudes like Khomeini and stuff. It's gonna be like these kind of nationalist technocrats and shit.
It,
Um,
it's
who know now that they have
Here's
to
my
get a nuke.
problem.
Like they're basically gonna be like North Korea 2.0. They're gonna have to be. They're gonna be like a siege state where they're gonna get nukes probably because that's the only way to survive.
My problem is I think like we've kind of I feel like we've kind of heard, at least me personally, right? Like just having ties there, I've kind of heard like this idea that like they're gonna shift to nationalism for like a while, you know? And here again we are in 2026, we're saying like I think they're gonna shift to nationalism, like, oh, like maybe now is the time, right? Like Khamenei is dead, I mean maybe, but I personally I do have some doubts.
I feel like they're already kind of national though. Like you don't realize like Shias are pretty much like they consider Iran as the only thing they got. So I don't think they're not nationalistic. Like
I mean,
think
here's the thing, they like for example, do you guys know what Nowruz is?
no,
No.
No.
Nowruz is like Persian New Year.
yeah,
And so like that's from like Zoroastrianism, like that's kind of it's so, and for example, like the regime, they historically have like rejected, like they don't really like Nowruz, like they don't like people celebrating Nowruz, for example.
hmm.
And so like that's like people kind of associate things like that with like Persian culture, they kind of associate that more with nationalism. And so that kind of, but that, see, the problem is like, does it the problem is like things that that a lot of Iranians consider nationalistic, right? They aren't necessarily associated with Islam. That I think that's kind of the problem.
But the problem is though is that you can't be too national, like you can't be too much of a Persian nationalist because Iran's made up of all these different ethnic groups, and
Oh,
the
100%.
Azeris and the Kurds and shit aren't gonna
Yeah,
put up with like a very nationalist Persian regime. So that's why Islam has worked, because
it's like a
Islam's more of a
unifier.
unifying.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like more of a universal unifier basically than your ethnicity and shit. That's why in general ideologies or religions are better for unifying people than like your
Yeah.
ethnic background, because like that's inherently exclusionary.
Well, even like
Basically.
The Kurds celebrate like they celebrate like here's the thing, Iranian like Kurds in Iran are not exactly the same as like the Kurds of like Iraq or other countries. Like I think they are inherently like more nationalistic towards Iran than like Iraqi Kurds, for example. Like I think like for example, like, you don't really see as many like separatist Kurds in Iran compared to like those other countries, in my opinion.
Well,
Hmm.
I know they don't want the monarchy back though, and that's the problem with this whole
Oh,
thing
yeah,
is there's
well,
so many
a lot of them are
contradictions.
against the monarchy.
Like all the ethnic groups are against the monarchy, but they're
Yeah,
also kind of against the current regime.
I
But then
can't
like
take
the current
Pahlavi
regime's against the
seriously
monarchy.
though.
I mean, there's so many contradictions. Like who's even gonna lead this thing,
Yeah,
assuming the current regime's gone?
Communists.
There's
That-
no
that's
group
that's
that
kind of
can
the
unify
problem,
the
I think.
country.
I think they'll find someone
The-
strategically, but I don't think it's gonna be Pahlavi. I think he's kind of a joke.
Dude, he is a joke. No one seriously thinks if that guy steps foot in Iran, he'll be killed instantly. He's a complete joke. His own
The-
wife isn't even faithful to him.
I was talking about someone with Daniel, he was like the son of someone. Who was that Daniel again? Do you remember?
Yeah, no, he's the son of the late Shah, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. They're like, when you guys were talking about like regime changes, it's like how this dude's like in Israel kissing the wall and doing all this stuff, and it's like the most obvious who they're gonna try to put in charge if they're
Even
able to.
Trump doesn't want to put him in charge because he knows
Yeah.
that it would be a disaster.
Yeah.
Here's the problem. I think at the same time, right? Like, and that's kind of like the point you brought up is like who's going to lead this thing, right? Like, if there is like some sort of regime change, like is there like how many like there's no like here's the thing, right? There's no other like actual opposition quote unquote figure, right? Like, so I mean, it's a good kind of question to bring up, I think.
Hmm. I mean,
and
maybe
it's
there's no
disgusting.
opposition figure for a reason.
That's what I'm saying. If the opposition's so good, then why isn't there all these figureheads who can take over if need be?
I guess the argument
Well,
would
I
be
mean,
that
okay,
they're
here's
like
the thing. I do.
scared.
Maybe they're like, especially like right now, they're just scared to get like.
Well, for
Wiped
one
out
thing,
basically.
here's what I think the U.S. and this is what I mentioned earlier. I think the U.S. and Israel, or I think their ideal world is that they're going to weaken military so much, and then I mean, this is what you literally heard like Trump say, right? He said like he basically said, "Stay in your homes for now, and then when we're done, like I'll tell you to come out." Like that's basically what they're hoping on is that Like this opposition is going to rise up within the
They just
country.
magically rise up. No, what he's hoping is that once they activate their Mossad sleeper cells and shit, that maybe then they'll do something. Because let's be real, the whole protests was definitely
See, that's
backed by
where me and
foreign
Daniel had a
intelligence
lot of
agencies.
disagreement. Is the
Yeah, I
Well, let's just
listen.
let's
here's the
just be
thing.
honest about it. These people. I'm just gonna say this. Listen, any other country would have probably any other competent country basically who actually has the will to like stay in power would have done the same thing because these people are burning down police stations and storming government buildings and taking guns and shit. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, what the fuck else are they gonna do? And we know Mossad was on the ground.
Here's the thing.
Mike Pompeo even admitted it.
No,
He
no, no.
said that
Listen,
Mossad had infiltrated
me and
the
Kay, we talked about this, right?
protests.
Like, I will 100% like agree. There is 100% Mossad on the ground. Like, there's probably, in my opinion, there's probably like hundreds of Mossad agents and or CIA, right, within Iran. However, to kind of say like this is just like the protests were like a Mossad operation, like to kind of entirely frame it as that, I disagree with. I don't think there's not millions of Mossad agents within Iran. Like we have to just like admit that. Like there is like actual opposition to the government.
Mhm.
But do I think Mossad is on the ground? Do I think they're
Yeah,
you
it's
know
like the BLM. It's like
Yeah,
if it's like if a foreign intelligence agency had started directing and training BLM protesters and
because
like
you don't
coercing
need
them
a
to do
million, that's for sure.
crazier
You
shit.
only need, a couple hundred to really get the people riled up to start forming protests, get people out there. I think the problem is like, okay, one of these points I brought up to Daniel is like, why did they shut off the internet? Okay, so some people are saying they shut off the internet because they don't want the footage out there. I don't think that's true. I think like you'll still be able to record footage and upload it whenever. I think that they shut off the internet to stop the coordination of protests, which by proxy it minimizes deaths and it minimizes damage. So it's not necessarily that the government is looking out for the people, but they're trying to quell the protests. But the propaganda is,
well, no,
oh,
I
they don't
agree
want
with
the
you there.
footage of the protests out.
Listen, can we just be real here? There's a difference between a protest and then an insurrection where you're like seizing government buildings and like there were people in the crowd wearing black, like with guns and throwing Molotovs and shit. Like I mean,
Sure.
there were. This was clearly a regime
I mean,
change
you had
operation, and
you
that's why
probably
you
had
have a
some like
war
Kurdish
now
group.
because that failed, and now you have to have a war for it. I mean,
Look,
it's
look,
not a
you probably
coincidence that happened right before the war.
I think you probably had some, Kurdish groups that were probably armed, right? But I don't think. Here's the thing, like the Persians, like there's no way, like the Persian pro, like hundreds of thousands of Persian protesters, like in the streets, like they can't be armed, they don't have arms, right? And I
No,
do think,
but what I'm saying though is that if just one, let's say you're in a big crowd and the regime security forces are down the street, one guy pulling out a gun and shooting at them is going to cause them to just spray into the crowd
I
because they have
agree with
no
you, but
fucking clue who's shooting at
but
them,
we, I
and they're
mean,
going
here's
to
the thing,
freak
the
out. Then
footage.
there's going to be mass casualties, and now there's a justification for a war. Bam.
Well, here's the thing. The footage that we have, like they had a shoot to kill order even on unarmed protesters. Like this, I agree. There probably was some instances where you probably maybe had like Kurdish protesters. Maybe they were armed, right? But I mean, we literally have like direct footage of them having like a shoot to kill order where they're just shooting like unarmed protesters. I mean, we have a video of them literally like running over protesters with a vehicle. Like, I mean, it's. I do think that. I think that maybe like the protests did get out of hand and they just ordered it they just had like a shoot to kill order on anyone that was
Yeah,
protesting.
I don't think they were going out there trying to kill people. I think it was just kind
Well,
of
it's because the protests had become an existential threat because they were trying to overthrow the
that too.
government. It's like you can't you can't overthrow the government. I mean, pretty much any states can do that.
It's
I mean,
also it's the fact that they're
and I think the numbers are very much exaggerated. I mean, people are like, oh, they killed
that's true.
30,000 people in 2 days. Okay,
It
bro.
fluctuates, yeah.
All right.
I think the important part is to know that Iran is in a fight for its existence. So if you're protesting the country now, you almost seem like a traitor.
Yeah,
Well,
that too.
I mean, that's such a slippery slope. It's hard to sit here externally, and I think knowing that sitting here and like half measuring everything and being like, well, it's really wrong America's doing this, but at the same time, this is really good for the Iranian people, and that's the slippery slope that I think people like Israel want you to kind of sit on, and that's what they want the general consensus to be. Like, oh, I have pity. At the same time, this is wrong, but I can look past it for how good it is for this little group of people. Like, I think leaning on that is part of the goal, but I don't think at the same time, like I don't there's no shame in weighing sympathy towards Iranian people in kind of the overall evaluation of everything. Like I think worrying if they're considered like traitors or not, I don't know if that's I don't know because I think the unfortunate thing is we can sit here and talk about it all we want, but what's inevitable is that they'll establish a leaning Western Israel friendly like attempt at more of a democracy eventually, and it'll be extremely passive and surveillance reliance, and that's what's going to happen. And I think that I don't know. I think it's hard to critique this.
It's just like if you're trying to overthrow your own government, especially in a time where war is certain and all this, it's like that is a treasonous act, and it's like
to be fair though.
But you would do the same thing
Just
here.
real quick. This is January 8th and 9th.
John, I would not, if any foreign country like murked our president, like I would be outraged.
You would sit there and attack America.
Well,
no, dude, no foreign country can murk our president. For like at the end of the day, I'm like a bit of American nationalist, and like and I think all people should be for their countries. Like you can't.
So I brought up this comparison to Daniel. I said, what if a country was almost like our existence as a U.S. was in threat, and people were in here protesting the government as that was happening? The government would see those people as traitors, rightfully so, and they would take action. I feel like we're not special. We're not different. Like, if we were in that position and people were out there protesting, we wouldn't let it fly.
But you have to remember that they weren't. It wasn't like a kumbaya protest. Like they're just chilling. Like they were literally burning shit down and like storming government facilities and bases.
That's naturally protest transition to riots.
They were literally borderline insurrectionist shit. Like I mean, I don't know what Iran's supposed to do. Just let them take over the government, I guess.
Do you think that Israelis that oppose their government, the small minority that is, do you think that people calling them traitors is justified? And it's fair because they're not nationalists enough?
Look, despite all the problem with it, but I'm just saying that's the facts of the matter.
Zionists, yeah, they are traitors to the Zionists.
They will say it. They will attack them as well. But you can have a problem with it. It's 100% valid, but it's just what it is.
Well, in general, are we just gonna say that like Iran was always in a fight for its existence? Because when it's not like on January 8th and 9th when they just like shot all these people, right? It's not like Israel and like the U.S. were like getting ready to invade then, right? I mean,
they were, dude. This
in the grand scheme of things, like if you think about it,
Iran has been in a fight for its existence since the 12-day war. Like it was clear ever since that war ended that another one was coming.
I do agree
reloading, and it's clear like if you read about like what the Iranian negotiators are saying, like it was made clear to them during negotiations that this was existential. That if they didn't get a deal done, then Trump and them were going to overthrow the regime, basically. So like this has been completely existential to them, and everyone in Iran knows it too. Everyone's known that this is coming. This is going to happen.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to overthrow the government and this shit, you're literally just playing into the hands of Israel and the U.S. Like everyone knows that. Like that's obvious. And so I feel like you kind of are being a traitor at that point. And also, why are they even protesting? Because like the economy sucks. Well, why does the economy suck? Because Iran's subject to like some of the worst sanctions on earth.
Yep. So like no matter how you cut it, it doesn't make sense.
You can look this up. Scott Bessent actually bragged about how the sanctions we put in place crashed Iran's economy and caused the protests. He straight up admitted that was the whole goal of it during a congressional hearing. So, yeah, I mean, it's like if you're protesting, you're like literal cattle. Like you're just like serving Israel in the U.S. Like that's literally what you're doing.
Unfortunately,
you're serving Zionist interests. Like that's the hard truth of it. Like, There's a time if you want to get rid of the regime, why don't you just like wait a second until after the existential war to like literally that will literally decide the fate of like the world basically. Because if Israel wins this, they're gonna rule the world basically. So just let's get through
Well,
this
I mean,
battle
here's the thing.
first.
It's
and
not
then
like
Who's
they
gonna rule the
haven't
world?
tried
figure it out.
before, you know? Like it's
Juice,
like
juice,
people
juice.
have these protests.
All right, Daniel.
I didn't think we'd be anti-Semitic. I don't know how much longer I can be on here. That crossed
Okay,
the
wait,
line.
let's let
these
Daniel
protests,
speak.
I was saying these protests aren't necessarily like some new like phenomenon. Like we've had protests like going back. I mean, since the '80s. I mean, you know, the
Well,
result has
everyone has
always been the same
protests.
though.
We have protests, and that doesn't mean you overthrow
Yeah,
the
I know, but I'm saying
regime.
the result has always been the same. Is that they have like shot protesters every single time.
I think the real issue is like, yes, we understand Iran or a segment of the Iranian population wants to be secular, but it's like, did we have to force it on them? Did we have to cripple their economy, make them suffer, and then tell them, oh, do you want freedom? You want to be like us? You want to be like us? Get rid of your government. Like, does that really sound fair? Like, we led them to this. We crippled them.
Lisa.
You could have just treated them like a normal country, and eventually they probably would have reformed themselves.
Well, that's the problem. They couldn't because they were scared of them. Israel did not want them to exist, so they couldn't function as a regular country, do their own thing, you know, learn like the other countries. Like, they had to be so strict, so like cautious, especially if you know Iran's history. Like, they've always been getting messed with.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's the thing, right?
I think that this war that's going on could actually permanently destroy Iran, because they're already trying to incite the Kurds to invade, and if the Kurds do that, then it's gonna incite that all over the country. The Azeris will probably try to do something. The people in Baluchistan.
Yeah, luckily the Kurdish forces have like they've denied the reports, but I think they're trying
I feel
to.
like at the end of the day, they will do something because Trump is putting a lot of pressure on them to.
Yeah.
They
want them to.
From what I read, like Axios basically said, Trump told them that you either have to choose the U.S. or Iran. So, and we know what the Kurds are gonna do.
And at that point, Daniel, how would you feel about like a ground thing?
Well, I said from the beginning, like I'm against a ground invasion.
Even if it's not our soldiers.
Well, I'm definitely against it if it's the Kurds because if it's the Kurds, that means they're trying to like. See, here's the thing, right? For me, you know, you guys know I'm against the regime, right? But I have a hard line on like the territorial integrity of Iran. That's not a question for me. That's like that can't be like the territorial integrity of Iran cannot be like messed with for me, and that's kind of like my hard line right there. So, you know, if it's the Kurds, I think that's even worse, especially because they're probably going to be funded by, you know, the CIA and most like they're probably going to be given arms by the CIA and whatnot. So,
I think
I'd be hard against that.
I think the Ayatollah should have acquired nukes.
Yeah,
none of this would be happening.
In hindsight,
I think it also proves, he's so bad that he didn't get nuclear weapons. He's so evil that he said no nuclear weapons and he issued like an order against.
Well, didn't they not do nukes because of like it was like coming into conflict with Islam?
Yeah.
I think they're almost principled out of like to a fault. Like they are.
And I think it's kind of fucked up to kill him the way they did. I mean, really?
Yeah, and his daughter. Daughter and.
Like it's just like really, bro. Like he was 86 years old, like, and we blew him to bits. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
Like it's like so unhonorable and like absurd. Like it's just
at that point, bro, he could have just died at any time.
Yeah,
like,
true. But I think that's a good point. I think like he went out in the best way possible for their kind of culture. He was an old man, could have died of cancer, but he got martyred, quote unquote. So now they see him as kind of like a hero figure.
Now,
it's just like it's like whatever happened to just like basic like things like virtue and respect and dignity and honor, like because it's like him or not, he served his country for a very long time and
Mm.
was a very like important statesman for like 40 years, like for in world politics. Like he is shaking hands with like almost every world leader. Like like he is a significant leader of a important country, and they just like blew him up alongside like his granddaughter and daughter and shit. Like it's like honestly kind of fucked up, honestly. Even
You
though
know,
like probably wasn't the nicest guy ever, but
I think
honestly, I think he was probably nicer than the leaders we have who rape children, honestly. So
I think like the moral rot from like the Gaza stuff is like really impacting Americans to the point where like they do not care anymore. Like if you're viewed as the other on that side, it's gonna be as brutal as it's ever been.
yeah.
Now, I asked this to Daniel. Well, I didn't ask it. He just kind of like liked my message. I don't know if he agreed with it or he had something to say, but I said how like, so say Israel and the U.S. go in, right, and they overthrow the government. Do you like, how long would you expect until that regime gets overthrown by like the people? Like, because they won't have a shot at like voting their own person, right? If we put in who we want in power. So how long until you think they
Well,
would
honestly,
rise up?
if there is a pro-Western regime, I don't think it's gonna get toppled. Like for at least for a long time, unless because I think
Why do you think pro-Western means democracy and all this stuff?
no, that's not what I'm
Pro-Western's like
saying. I'm
Saudi
saying
Arabia. Like
no, no,
even
no.
under the Shah, which is what all these monarchists talk about, it was oppressive as shit. Like the only time Iran's ever had a semblance of a democracy was like for a couple of years when Mossadegh was there and all that shit. Like Iran's never really has no precedent for a successful democracy, really. So
Well, first of all, I'm not saying that pro-West means democracy. That's not what I'm saying. But Rob was talking about like, do I think it's how long before it gets toppled? That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I don't think it's going to get toppled because I think like the West will have achieved its goals and they'd support that government to where it wouldn't get toppled. Like if there is a pro-Western like regime in place, like that's exactly what the U.S. and Israel
Well,
want.
no, I
Like
mean like
that's
top
not
of like
gonna.
the people, because like
Yeah.
they won't. In this sense, they wouldn't have any say in who becomes their leader, right? It would just get implanted like Venezuela.
Well, that's not what I'm in support of. That's not what I'm calling for.
Yeah,
You know?
no, no.
Well-
I'm saying like, how long until you think that people would rise? Because
Yeah.
like, I would think that would create like Hayden talked about before. Like, it's something like I feel like if we go in, right, we as like the USA, and change out this leader and put our own in there, it would create like a division of nationalists, and it like I feel like it would spread pretty fast through.
Yeah. And we've seen that
Through
happen.
Iran.
Actually, Rob raises a good point. Like, what happens when the people are dissatisfied? What does this new Western regime do? Are they just going to say, oh, we'll give you guys what you want? Or are they going to do some similar stuff to the old regime?
Well, I mean, I think if you have a secular government, if you have if you have like economic investment coming into the U.S., which or not to the U.S. into Iran, and you have you know open trade with the West, I don't really think that people would be dissatisfied. Like I think they're just gonna be like I think they're just gonna be fine with
But
like
even
living
with
their
having
lives.
no say in who is their leader, like you don't think there'd be any dissatisfaction from
Well,
like
I think
people at
if
all?
there's if there's like a hypothetical scenario where they're like they have zero say in with the leader, which I'm against, I do think yeah, sure. I mean,
this is the problem,
they
though, dude.
they'd be
Like,
against the government.
I guess if Iranians want slavery, I guess that's fine. You can't stop it. But like from what it sounds like a lot of Iranians just want to be like Saudi Arabia or the UAE, like, and just like have a like basically be a shithole. But now you at least have like Western products and like
Yep.
some cool and like
Yes,
some
because the propaganda
strippers and some fun Western stuff like
And like
that,
slaves
bars and all that
from
cool stuff.
Southeast Asia and
they
stuff.
did.
Yeah, but
They just see the high
basically,
points of
but you're
living in Dubai.
sacrificing your sovereignty for like why not just thug it out for like a couple more decades or two and then be like China and like run shit and like have all this dope ass shit and like be built by your like you built your own shit up basically and you don't rely on anyone and you're like an actual actor on the world stage. Like I would rather have that, to be honest, than like just be a bitch to Israel forever.
I mean, here's the thing:
Like-
like Iran has like immense potential. Like they have insane resources. They have basically a completely untapped tourism industry. I mean, like they have like the economic potential. Like I don't think they're just gonna be like I don't think that like I think they'd be closer to like a Turkey, like maybe like a Turkey
Yeah, they
like
could be
Saudi
Turkey.
mix. Like I think they
Yeah.
could be a Turkey. Like here's the thing for me. I would rather them, for me, right? I would rather them be Turkey. I'd rather them be UAE. I'd rather them be Saudi, as opposed to say Syria or like Venezuela or something like that. Like,
Well, that's what you're gonna be. Well, yeah, like honestly, I think I was being too generous giving you Saudi UAE. It's probably gonna be like
Well,
Lebanon
well, honestly, no,
or
I disagree. I think they easily could be like a
Syria or
Saudi.
Iraq.
I think
I think
Saudi
they easily.
UAE is the end
Well,
point.
but
I feel like you're
Saudi's not
gonna go through
actually good
stages where
though.
you're Syria, Venezuela first, and then you're gonna
Yeah,
get to Saudi.
but the Saudi, yeah, Saudi's good if you're the elite and shit. Yeah,
That's
it's
true.
awesome. But like for the everyday Iranians,
Well, here's the thing,
Saudi
though.
kind of
That's
sucks
the
still.
same thing going on right now. Like, if you're unless you're like a IRGC family, like or a regime like related family, like that's literally like directly correlates with what the upper class is in Iran. Like the
Yeah,
wealth.
That's imposed on them by
but if we're
exterior
being real though,
forces.
if we're being real though, the Iranian elite are way more like the IRGC and all those guys. It's way like less of a gap than like the Saudi elite
Well,
and
yeah,
the
this is just
average
because they're a
Saudi
poor
person.
country.
But even
Like-
then, it's like by
like-
chance that they're gonna have money because they're politicians. But like the reason the people are suffering is not because of the politicians; it's because of external forces like the
Yeah,
U.S. and Israel.
It's not because the
Here's the thing, we
IRGC
can't
and the
just pretend
Ayatollah
that, like,
are conniving in the
we can't just
corner to
pretend like
fuck
they
over
haven't
Iranians.
mismanaged the country as well. Like this isn't like it's not all on the
How do you
sanctions.
think so though? And
like,
like
they've
what
had
main? I'm sure there's ways they have, but what main core ways do you think they have?
well, okay, for one thing, do you know about the water crisis in Tehran?
Yeah,
Like, I mean, like that you can't blame that on sanctions. That's just complete obvious like mismanagement. Like you literally have
well, but
like,
isn't that? But I thought that's because there's droughts and shit, and like the
well, here's the
geography's
thing, like
fucked and
yeah,
the
you can
climate.
deal with droughts, right? But that it's still like it still has to do with poor planning and like overbuilding like dams and like excessive like groundwater extraction, like factors like that, right? Like it's not
So,
just because of a
that's like an
chance.
honest mistake, though. That's not like
Well,
a
sure, it's an honest mistake, but it's
deliberate
due to incompetence, right? And
evil
then
fuck
that
up.
leads to people being unhappy. Like if you're like it could be like a well-intentioned like mistake, right? But it's because of incompetence then at that point.
I know, but what I'm saying is like I don't think that's a reason to like overthrow the regime or. some
Well,
shit
no,
like
I'm just
that.
saying in general, right? You
Damn,
have like
bro.
in general, you've had like mismanagement, like of the economy, of like things like
that's a valid
water,
point.
like like you have had some
Well, I think
mismanagement.
it's hard, but it's hard though when you're sanctioned. You can't.
Yeah.
I'm sure they've tried or they have somewhat access to, but they probably can't get access to modern what's it called? Those plants that convert ocean water to like fresh water. Because they could do that to help fix their problem.
Yeah. I don't think
but
they're
the reason
without
why
mistakes or
the reason why they
problems.
can't really modernize, like they can't modernize their militaries because they literally can't purchase parts to do so because of the sanctions. Like they're literally fucked. Like they can't. There's things they just can't do because
And
of the
it's
sanctions.
like you said, it's
not really
self-admitted
fair.
by our government and our politicians. Like they do this on purpose to cripple Iran, to force them to capitulate. Like, so from that perspective, it's hard to blame Iran. It's hard to blame their government.
Yeah.
But okay, so Daniel, so back when I first like asked a question, right? Do you think history repeats itself, just in general?
Like as a general principle?
Yes, in the world, does history repeat itself?
Yeah, I mean it can.
So a U.S. like a Western, right? Like say they do democracy, right? They try a Western democracy, or not another, but just a Western democracy there, right? And like you're just not gonna think it's just not gonna create any like nationalist person to rise up like it has before. Not in Iran, I'm saying.
Iranian
just in general.
Revolution too, dude. It's gonna
like
another fucking
like
uprising against the Western regime.
We're gonna,
and they'll
like,
overthrow
It will happen. They're very religious. Like they're not just gonna give
yeah,
up.
and then we'll have to beef with them for again
Another
for another
100
4
years.
decades.
Well, I would
Yeah.
also
and then-
contend that religion is kind of like dying in Iran, but that's kind of a different conversation.
That's the crazy part. Is I think it's growing
even
now
if
because of
religion
what
dies,
happened.
though, but even if it dies though, still like Iran's a distinct civilization, and the people there like have ambitions to like be more than a bitch basically to other countries. So like there's always gonna be this. Even the Shah kind of did some stuff where he was trying to be independent. The
Yep.
Shah didn't want to be
See,
the bitch of the
I
West,
agree with you there. I
but
think,
he was kind of forced to. So
well,
there's always been
I
this element in Iran where it's like they want to be independent. So you're always gonna have that like that's why Iran, for as long as we don't allow anyone to challenge us, they will always be a problem because there's
I
always
agree.
an independent faction within the country.
I personally am of the belief that the West took out the Shah. Like they fully like let him get toppled. Like I fully believe that. I
Yeah.
think like there's multiple like if you look at like CIA documents, if you look at like just news of the time, right? Like there's multiple like indicators that would pretty much like they basically literally told the Shah to stand down on like these protests. Like they practically
Well,
let
yeah,
him get
from what I
toppled.
understand is they were kind of sick of him, and they kind of thought that hey,
I do
at
know
least
there was rumors.
they basically thought that hey, at least these Islamic guys aren't fucking communists or anything. So like, I guess this is chill.
And
Like,
then the Shah, I mean, he had nuclear ambitions of his own. I was telling Cade this. Like he literally said, "I'm gonna get a nuke." And especially if he said there's an interview of him. I believe it's like 1974. He says like especially like with the talk of India and Pakistan getting a nuke, I will 100%. I'm 100% gonna be pursuing a nuclear weapon. Like he openly admitted that, right?
Mm.
yeah,
And I mean, he nationalized the oil in '73. I mean, he
this should tell you that no matter who rules Iran, like no matter what the character of the regime is if they want to be like independent or have their own path, like we're gonna
Yep.
attack them and target them
Yeah.
and stuff.
Which
And that's why the current regime gets targeted is because if they didn't want to pursue their own goals and their own path, we wouldn't fuck with them. Like we would just let
yep.
them do their thing.
If they wanted to be a Saudi
since they
Arabia, they
want a
could have been.
weapon, yeah, exactly. But since they don't even want a nuke, by the way. But they don't even want a nuke. If they wanted a nuke, they could have had one by now. But they just want to have a powerful military and be a regional power. But
Yep.
that's too much because Israel wants to be a
That's a
regional
threat
power.
to Israel, and we're fighting on their behalf.
Yeah, and after Iran, it'll be Turkey. Like I said, it'll be Turkey, and we'll have to go after them. That'll be a little more complicated because Turkey's in NATO. So I wonder how they'll work that one out. But yeah, and also they like stuck Saddam on Iran too after the Iranian Revolution because they wanted to kill the revolution in its cradle because they knew, um, like they knew Iran was gonna be a problem basically.
Yep.
So, um, yeah.
Should we talk
I
about
don't know.
the
I feel
future?
like I feel like
Yeah.
from what I've seen, I've seen like I mean I don't know, but I've seen like people visit Iran, and it honestly doesn't really look horrible. Considering everything that like is going on, the sanctions and stuff. Like
It's not.
it looks like a country where if we didn't ass rape them economically the way we do, like they would probably be fine.
Yeah.
Like
And if we weren't so forceful on them, they probably wouldn't be as religious and like strict.
yeah, it's not like Venezuela or countries like that where it's like yeah we fuck with them, but it's like they would still have a lot of fucking problems even if we weren't basically like
Yeah.
like Iran seems like they're pretty close to being successful. It's just like you can't you can't reach your potential when like you're literally cut off from the global economy basically like it's like impossible. You just can't.
Yeah. All right. Look, we're gonna get into like domestic topics real quick, but I think Daniel has to go, so I'm gonna let him like say his last piece on Iran because he is the only Iranian here.
Yeah, look, I mean, ultimately, I mean, I do understand all the concerns, with the war and everything. For me, I'm kind of just looking at it as like from a personal point of view, right? Just with, like with Iranian ties and everything. For me, I do kind of have like this pessimistic view that I do think like Israel will like win. I do think the US will win. Like I do think that their goals will be achieved, and I think like it's inevitable. I kind of have that sort of pessimistic view of it. And so with that being said, I'm kind of just thinking like, okay, what will ideally be best for the people? And I think that in this scenario where if Israel's victory is inevitable in the U.S., if it is inevitable, then the best scenario is a regime that will like open up the country and let the country like thrive economically. And so that's kind of uh, where my motivation for a regime change does come. But thank y'all for kind of having me. It's a good
course.
talk with y'all.
Pleasure.
Thank you for providing
Yeah,
your
bro.
perspective.
Good luck to your people.
Allah.
Free Iran.
Thank you.
Goodbye, my
Iran.
tribal chief.
All right, transitioning. The only reason we
Iran.
included these is because
Trans?
Vega was supposed to be here, but he's too
It's actually
scared.
crazy.
Fill in for
He
Vega.
got home too. I told him to join. He just didn't join.
Yeah.
Vega was too scared to take a stance because the Democrats love war. So Vega
Did he get
can't.
fired if he started talking about Gaza?
He said because it's streaming, he's not. No one's. Why does he think his work's gonna see it?
I also have to
I don't
go.
know. Oh no,
I just want to
Rob.
say, I
I don't have
hate
long left.
Israel. I hate Israel.
All right, we could speed
Age
through.
restriction.
We could speed through
Surprising.
these ones because it's not really that deep. Okay, so Newsom, do you guys think he's gonna bring any changes, or is he a LARPer?
I think he's gonna bring some changes, but he's mostly a LARPer, like 75% LARPing.
Vampire.
Because
Domestically,
he did do the or where's the redistricting to get some
yeah,
votes
that's a
back.
good idea.
Like that's more fucking spine than any other Republican
Yeah.
or any other Democrat has shown.
Yeah, domestically, I think he'll, because Trump is doing so many things, he'll definitely be making changes and trying to fix whatever Trump's doing.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not gonna like become pro-Palestine
No.
if he gets elected.
That's
think
interesting.
It's see how like the public responds to that, because I think there's this hope that he does, and he'll definitely LARP like he does, and there'll be this like middle ground of people. Like obviously you have people that are old and want constant support of Israel because they back whatever the politicians say, but I think there's going to be this middle ground of people that believe the Democrats in their sense of like, oh yeah, we need to taper relationships with it. Like they won't go as far to say free Palestine or even acknowledging Palestine as a state, but they're going to go out of their way to be like, maybe we shouldn't be as friendly, and they'll say these things that lead people on to like a lack of foreign relations, which is what I thought with Trump when he was running in 24. Like I thought that his lack of his America First, which he put on, I bought it like a little goy. I really thought that he wouldn't really. I don't know. I didn't think that he was such a bitch for another country just because he was not a politician, but clearly I was misconstrued. So
Yeah.
I think
I don't blame you. I think I fell for it too, but then once I saw Miriam Adelson drop 100 million, I was like, yeah, it's over.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
and then he traded Luca.
And he's so senile that.
Now, why did you have to mention the Luka trade? I'm just curious.
Oh, here comes Victim
That's
Man.
the best thing
That has
Israel's
nothing-
ever done, by the way.
That has nothing to do with politics. I don't
comes
think.
in and oh my
That
gosh,
was a great
my-
trade by Israel. Israel traded Luca for
W.
dog
Chris
shit.
Middleton.
I support Israel now because of that.
W trade.
Best prospect ever, and he bitches.
So what about the Republicans? Let's say Vance wins. Let's say Vance comes in. Are they going to continue all the stuff they've been doing?
With the primary or the election?
I think I think it might even go a little bit worse because Vance is like certainly a puppet. Like Trump obviously is as well, but he like people like to pretend he's not. But Vance is genuinely like he's handpicked to be like a servant.
He's groomed for this.
He got those
Like, genuinely.
donors. Got the richest humans on the planet are his donors.
Peter Thiel made him.
dude.
Yeah.
I think
Peter
most
Thiel's little fucking puppet boy.
JD Vance is subhuman.
serious thing, especially like every vice presidential debate is like PR everything, but I think the worst thing is that Vance isn't a senile old retard like Trump, and that's what the Republican. I mean, that's what both parties will eventually.
Yeah,
get
but
back
he's
to,
a
is, you know,
cringe, fat
insane.
moron.
But-
Dude, no one
you know
cares
that.
about him.
Do you guys think that
think-
85% of the voting public knows that? If he's going to sit there and be a car salesman up there, I think he could do a damn good job at persuading
True.
people he's patriotic.
And this
Like,
is a weird point, but his meme ability it makes him likable. People think like he's a likable, funny guy for some
And
reason.
he's conscious and he's innocent
No
under Trump
one,
and all
dude.
these things.
Come
And
on.
you look at Trump and say he's a
There's
senile.
the Mogs.
I wouldn't
I
be
don't know,
Trump,
senile-
surprised.
MAGA people think he's a funny, memeable guy, but like
They also
a
think he's a
medium voter
genius,
does
by the
not
way.
think he's a funny.
I don't know.
They don't think he's a cute, adorable little boy. They think he's a
Sometimes.
fucking weirdo.
Sometimes the
no,
memes.
vastly underestimate the gross incompetence of people that are just like, oh well, maybe he's a good one. Like, I think there's people that are genuinely unintelligent enough to be
Well, I
like,
think he
yeah, he
has
seems
to
like he
take
knows what he's
that.
talking about. It happens
If
every
he
year.
wants any chance, he's gonna have to like dial it back, like the Nazism a little bit.
That's the thing is there'll be
And I
like
think he would do that, though. I think he
I think
would.
it'll be a topic when Trump isn't running in the next election, and I think there'll be people that want to keep Trump. But I think Trump, PR wise, in the next 2 years, will push. And it's already like the worst of all of our lifetimes level of low of being allowed to say you support him as a person. I think in 2 years, if it's just 25% worse, if the Republicans genuinely want any chance, and with him completely removed from the party, you have to kind of make a little bit of a shift away from Trumpism. So I think Vance will have this level of like, well, it's like almost like Kamala, but I think it'll work better because it's a dumber audience that you're trying to
That's
foster
a
for
good
the
point.
Republicans.
Yeah.
It'll
Yeah,
be
but also
it'll be
like Trump is
Trumpism
so
will all be
deeply
expelled from government.
unpopular right now. You can't just beat Trump again. No one can beat Trump, and if that idiot is so stupid enough to try to beat Trump, he's gonna get destroyed. No one can
Yep.
beat Trump.
I
the
think
best.
I think he'll learn from Trump's flaws, though. I think he's a very calculated guy. I just don't know, like,
I
and
think he will too.
yeah.
I definitely think the Republican Party as a group and as a body, I think they're well aware of how poor the public reception of Trump is and how little effort he puts into making his image likable. Like I think he's so he I don't think he's conscious, but I think he has a I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks attitude. And there's an unbelievable amount of retards that will just buy whatever he sells. But I think that people like Vance that are 50 years old and can see that, holy fuck, why would you say that? I think it's very evident when you're saying things that aren't going to like foster a positive public perception. So imagine if the PR just gets 25-30% better under Vance, then I think you gain back 2/3 of the people you'd lose voting because you can convince people otherwise, and you can always get people with patriotic ideals.
I don't know how polarized this next election will be. Like, I just don't know which side's gonna be stronger.
Yep.
I think 2026 is going to be like a shell. It's going to because the Democrats are going to like dominate, obviously. But 28 might be a different story. Granted, I have nothing to base that off of. That's just like a like a gut. Maybe it'll be this way. Maybe it won't. But
Yeah. Well, we're supposed to
I
have
don't-
Vega
I
here
hear
for
that.
insider knowledge, but
yeah, right.
he's scared.
We're all going to grab
Yeah.
receipts on him. That little
Scaredy kitty.
coward.
What do you
Kitty,
guys What do you
kitty.
guys think America looks like in 10 years? I know it's a difficult question.
It's hard to say. I mean, I think we're getting a sneaky
I
peek
think
of it
I'll
right
be
now.
dead.
Like, I mean, nothing
Heart
great.
failure.
I think, frankly, it'll kind of just be roughly the same. I don't know. I don't think there's any like
Nothing about that.
crazy new anything.
Yeah.
I think trans people will not be as demonized by then.
Well, I think
Normal.
just think about how much we've been through in the past 10 years. Like I think the economy might be pretty trash in 10 years.
Oh, it is certainly going to be.
Yeah.
And I
Well,
think-
it's gonna be. I mean, I don't know how much worse can it really get. To be honest,
A
with you.
lot, to be hononest. I mean, it can get so much worse than it is.
I don't
I just
know.
think-
I mean,
it-
Because the
it doesn't
dollar is
affect
still
most
very
people.
strong elsewhere. Like once that purchasing power just vanishes, it's kind of over.
like eventually someone's
when the
gonna
economy
come
is
in
good
in
enough
10 years
where it
and,
hardly affects-
and try not to. They're actually trying to fix it. Surely.
No, you
I'm pretty
think.
confident all of us are
10
privileged
years.
enough to an extent where like the economy being poor at the moment, not directly affecting any of us. That is a pretty decent indicator that it's
Okay.
not.
No.
that is-
Okay.
I mean, obviously,
That's
like a
not
job market.
completely
Job
true.
market is not completely unaffecting us, but I think
Yeah, and housing costs, dude.
we're also. I know, but we're also. I think there's
And
there's enough.
groceries.
Well, the black
Yeah,
bubble of
and
the rent is
now-
it never goes
now
down,
oil.
it always goes up. So it's like it's always only going to
Yeah.
get worse.
Yeah, it'll get to a point where it affects your actual consciousness, and it does now. But I think I think it can get grossly worse. I think you're right in regards to it can get a lot worse, and that's not to discount how bad it is right now. But I think we can't even fathom a level of poor like 2008.
True.
Yeah, like
We've never lived
it's not
anything
looking
remotely
good
normal.
as far as a trend, but like there's been worse. There's a worse situation that you can be in. You know, again, not to like discount anything, but
Yeah.
you know, the grass is like, you know, it's not green, but it's, you know, it's not quite dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
To make that
honestly,
analogy
I
make
mean,
sense.
pretty
all
fucking
this
bad,
stuff
man.
we're doing outside the country, although we might disagree with it, it could pan out in 10 years that it was a good investment.
How?
Like, what are you referring
Like
to when you say that?
resource-wise, Venezuela, maybe Iran, like
Oh, I see.
If Israel controls the oil trade, then yeah, that could be.
that's where I'm. It's
Yeah, but
tricky.
like, well, that's certainly like, I mean, I don't know. You would think that
Big
we
jump.
have a
But 10 years is a
decent
lot of
pie.
fucking time, man. It could happen in 10 years.
Yeah, you would think like we still have a leash on
Just think
Israel
that
at least a little
oil-
bit, but I don't know.
Just imagine
What
AI
about the thing
technology.
that big oil doesn't fucking destroy one by the, and they just, keep the
only
prices
thing
as is.
is like,
That's true.
well, the concept of Greater Israel obviously isn't great. Like,
But don't say
what
but.
threat do they actually pose? No, it's not. It's not a but as in like, oh, well, maybe it's not so bad. It's more of like a like, what can they really do to like, not to like sound selfish or anything,
No,
but
no,
like,
you're right. You're right. It's like why
like
would
what
they
threat are they
attack?
realistically
Yeah.
gonna propose to America?
From an
you know
attack
what I mean?
standpoint, sure. But I think the idea, I think if a lot of Americans, I think everyone here would unanimously agree that if there was a concept like a third of our politicians being bought in favor of China, that would
Yeah.
scare people to death because of the
Mhm.
size of the nation. Same with Russia. Same with any world power. Now
Yeah.
imagine you escalate Israel to even 2/3 of a power like China, and it's a real threat that you don't have these people supporting this poor little country. All of a sudden, you have them supporting the conglomerate of the Middle East. And I think that would terrify people a lot more. And I think that's a much bigger deal. And I think that if we were bought out by like another world power, then I think we don't even exist as an independent at all.
Well, do you think
True.
that if they ascend to like world power status, that they're even gonna need to buy our politicians anymore? I mean, I guess that's a dumb question, but like you would think.
they wouldn't buy them, but I think they've had them.
Oh
Since
no,
the
they
60s.
certainly would. I think they
totally
might even
will.
funnel.
They get a lot of benefits from buying them. I mean, how else are they gonna get the funding they get if they don't
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think they'll
make
quite
these
like.
people sign bills?
They'll always see
If it's
America as an investment opportunity. They're not gonna ever leave America or disband.
Yeah,
it
that's
or-
what I was saying earlier.
They're the
When
only country to do it
Kate, you were
successfully. I
saying-
mean,
Dude, Kate, you were saying like if Israel is more independent and cuts off ties to America or something like that earlier, and I was saying who would replace them? Like, how do they get the resources they get?
That's true.
it's true though. It is true. And it's funny.
We give
I don't
them
know.
so
I don't know
many
if you watched-
fucking resources, dude.
I don't know if you watched that.
Also, the
they-
cultural tie is so deep in America as well. Like, everywhere, dude. Craig's favorite team is owned by Israel and traded his favorite player for dog shit.
Wait, Josh, Jed, you're so right, bro. I mean, with our team, who's your team again?
Okay, my team hasn't traded Drake May yet. When
Yeah,
they
you're right.
do
You just went
that,
from
then
Buckley to Drake May, and you're back in the Super Bowl 5 years
if
after you
they,
retire. Tell me about that.
But they lost.
yeah,
Once-
because I
once
own
Drake
your
May
bitch
gets
ass,
traded, it's like-
and my team's the best in the fucking world, and they own your bitch ass.
It's a perfect
Trading
transition.
second
Drake
best in
May
the
is,
world,
is
sorry.
like trading
Perfect
PJ
transition to the
Washington.
next topic. What is the deal with Dak Prescott?
I thought this
He's
was an
not as
Iran
good as
stream.
Romo.
No,
He'll
now
never
that
be Romo.
Craig's here, we have a Dak topic. It just
Here
popped
I
up.
am trying to like, you know what?
Oh,
I'll
we should
just
get
join the
Rashad
call.
and have CD versus Pickens. Ooh.
Wait, how do you guys feel
Rashad.
about Dak telling Pickens not to worry about the money and to like not let the money ruin his love of the game?
Agreed, bro. We just getting rich
Yeah,
and shit, bro.
well,
We just
first
getting
off,
rich.
dude, that's just such a silly thing to say, dude. Not because he gets paid, but like, why would you not want your teammate to get the most money he could possibly get?
Yeah.
Like, if you think he definitely deserves it. Like, why would he even say that? Just say, yeah, I hope he gets paid.
I think he means like we have a good thing going on. Don't let your like pursuit of the money like ruin that. Maybe.
Sarah Jane.
Okay, you can say that, but that's still a silly thing to say.
I guess that's true. But he restructured though, so he can say it now.
No,
Sarah
yeah,
Fuller
but
did what was
dude, everyone else says, I hope he gets paid. Hope he gets to get your bag, king. Some shit like that.
Not Dak.
Sorry.
Dak needs more money. He's worried.
Get your bag, king. You earned it,
Dak
King.
needs to pay for his remodeling.
I'll
phase
buy
that he
you
knows
roses,
half right
King.
now.
Yeah. At least they're restructuring.
Here's a rose. Here's a
though.
flower, King.
If we trade, or if we like, do away with Pickens, I don't know how I'm gonna feel. I'm pretty
Patriot.
depressed.
Did he get tagged?
I think that
Yeah.
they did tag him.
Oh my god, dude. The tag is such a cuckold to football.
We should extend Dak.
Why does Hayden keep leaving?
John,
Unironically,
John, you can't even talk.
Bruh.
John's
Oh,
quarterback
bruh.
situation is going to be even more dog shit than you can possibly imagine. You're not getting
Kyler
Kyler.
Murray, Daniel Jones quarterback battle is going to change the world for the better.
Daniel Jones will be injured and he won't be playing, and Riley Leonard will be your quarterback.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah,
have to deal with it. And then Daniel Jones comes back, and then he's dog shit. Because he just
Yep.
tore his Achilles.
Yep.
Man, I know. That's the crazy thing is that I sat there and defended Phillip Rivers in 2020 from Jackson and everyone that said he was going to be dog shit, and I felt so impassioned in my defense of him. I even defended Matt Ryan, man. I wish nothing but the worst for this franchise over the next 3 years.
Okay, this is Coach Report on Instagram, and I just recorded that and I just posted it. He secretly hates the team. Everyone comment right now, guys.
He actually
Piece of
wishes the
shit.
worst for his team.
This is
He
why I
thinks
only
all
listen
of
to
you
Colts
are
Sports.
What,
swine.
what now? What now, Coach Report?
Someone's
You
gonna
want
buy
them
the
to
Colts
lose
franchise.
to get a better draft pick? What the fuck's wrong with you?
The Bears being in Hammond, there will be a team that buys the Colts or an ownership that buys the Colts, and they will move them somewhere. I don't even.
They're
They
gonna
move them to like.
they're gonna
they
move
them
to Mexico City.
Toronto. I don't know why they go to Mexico City before Toronto. Toronto would be so much better. It'd be so much
Mexico
better
City's the
here.
biggest
Can we
sports
get,
market
like-
on the
AFC East,
planet.
bro.
All
Put us
right.
in the AFC East. Put the Dolphins in the AFC South. Okay, good.
Our last topic is why does Rob have it so easy?
You know,
Because
this is a question a lot of people are
on his
asking.
side.
The truth is that his mother is a Jew, and he's never admitted this.
What?
By relation, that makes him a Jew.
Okay, can we chill? with
John
the
is dropping
anti-Semitism,
unreleased
please?
information. Is Rob connected to Israel? That's a good one.
I
Yep.
think
don't think it's
the
ridiculous.
signs are all there. I mean, I think you definitely have to look into
I mean,
it.
he's always somehow the victim in the victor at the same time. I don't know.
Yeah. I
It
think
might
if
be.
the
It seems like a
Mariners
familiar
win,
tactic.
if the Mariners win,
There's-
I mean,
Why are you
Paul
talking
likes
about
cosplay as
baseball? You
Rob.
don't know nothing
He
about
doesn't
that
acknowledge
sport.
that he's a lot closer to Rob than he'd like to admit, but one of us here really likes to be Rob, the gimmick.
hmm.
What
It ends
about
with-
the color of Rob's starfish?
What?
Like
I'm gonna
black,
guess the
basically.
dog shit brown.
He hasn't gone outside in
It-
4 years, so I think that probably
It's
plays a role.
literally it's black, dude.
I don't know
Like,
what
no,
color it is,
genuinely,
but
like,
it's
pitch
nearly
black.
dead.
Moldy
You saw
black.
that dude's Discord animations, bro. Man, that shit is a new color you can't even imagine, man. Black and green and all of the above, bro.
New color. Mixture of puke and vomit and mud and shit.
And rolling around with your big belly in the disgusting pit of.
Wait,
piss
no,
and-
I actually really like this
John
conversation now.
Davis
Can we
is
continue
the
this?
bottom of John Davis's fucking diaper.
Fuck.
What's this transition into?
Transition, bro. Trans rights.
Let's go
Trans
back to
rights.
politics. What do we think of?
Dude, trans people must be living the life right now. All the attention's away from them at the moment. Like,
For real.
there's Somali, and then there's Iran, and then there's I don't know,
You're
Mexican
right, Josh.
people.
We can't forget about the trans taking away our medals.
Everyone, the trend. My daughter came in 12th place in my fencing competition, and I'm fucking angry.
That's
Someone will
interesting.
pay.
I think
and
I think
the
Israel,
payment due
Israel's like,
is all your rights get taken away.
Israel decided that we shouldn't fight anymore with the
Is a
trans.
disgusting act by Randy Moss.
Thank you,
That is
Israel.
a disgusting act.
Israel always has the side of the LGBTQ plus IA community. And that's why I'm